Hello, darkness, my new friend. A boy with an active imagination faces his fears of an unforgettable journey through the night with his new friend, a giant, smiling creature named Dark.
Voiced by Paul Walter Hauser and Orion by Jacob Tremblay, who I think does a great job of bringing to life a kid that is very much consumed by all of his fears. And I think when I brought this up to you earlier this year, and you hadn't watched it yet, I said that it's pretty hard to, I guess, root for a character that is fundamentally so different from yourself, someone where you get quite frustrated with their behavior. And then I found myself to be like really engrossed in what this movie ultimately ends up being about, where it ends. So throughout the film, I was like, okay, this is like middle of the road kind of normalish animation storytelling where we get a bunch of like Pixar-ish representation of something that represents something in the night, not taken too literally, but they serve the plot, the story, less the characters. And then in the Pixar way, you hope that like something big for the character ends up happening, so you're emotionally involved, and that movie had that. Towards the end there, this is going to be a spoiler review for me. I definitely recommend it. I really, really liked it. I could feel the influence that Charlie Kaufman had on the screenplay of this. And yeah, I've already given my rating months ago. I'm curious about like what you thought of it though, because I really liked it. I thought it was really, really beautiful.
I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was anything super crazy, but I still thought
Yeah.
it was really thoughtful. Obviously written by Charlie Kaufman, always intrigued me since learning about it. So I was really wanting to watch it for a while, but again, I just never got around to it until now. So yeah, I thought the way that it jumped around a little bit with time, kind of sporadically and throwing it in your face with being like, yes, so I'm a father now telling my daughter this story, which was an interesting change up and introduced her into the narrative, which was kind of cool. And then eventually it linked together, and that was all just like, yep. And then the end is a little bit messy, but you can follow
Yeah,
it. And
yeah.
you're just kind of going, what the fuck is going on with this movie?
Mhm.
So honestly, like it's well put together. It's very thoughtful. Originally I was sitting at a 2.5 star, but it comes up to a 3 star only for the Werner Herzog jokes that they have in like the start of the movie, and then like where he like
Yeah.
watching a documentary, and it's like about the nothingness or whatever of the universe, and
And
that's
he's
just like
narrating it.
that's just such a Herzog thing to talk about, like the nothingness of the universe.
Yeah, yeah.
And how life is like meaningless or whatever. But for me, I guess I didn't really get attached to anyone or anything. I didn't really,
Fair, yeah.
find it that much of an emotional journey. And I feel like there is definitely something we can all relate to with the fear of the dark. But I feel like they definitely could have uh, linked it to something of value of thematically maybe. But I just didn't really get anything to latch
Yeah.
onto
I mean,
that crazily.
to me, it ultimately really came together when it was jumping in time, when he basically grew past his own fear and was able to change something. For like, you could have that fear for what you give down to your children, and they suffer even greater under your shortcomings. But then it like took that in a way that you can grow from that together, because you have that understanding now. And I think I found that to be like really, really beautiful. Like, it got me a bit emotional. And like, obviously, like, this is, if it were just Charlie Kaufman writing it, an animated movie about kids, mainly for children, we would probably not get one that is like to be understood by children. But it is based on like a children book series by I think Emma Violet is the name. And if you look at the illustrations of that book, I think it's like really beautiful, and is very much about trying to understand the dark and seeing it as as something that adds to you, to like contextualize your fears and grow from them. And I think that's just like something really valuable to put out there into the world, when a lot of kids movies are more about the bang bop. There's a bunch of yellow tic tacs that can shoot bombs, and this one added something to me to it, that I found like this would be something that I would love to show to a kid who's struggling with something, to like work through it in an like, you get entertainment, but you also get like a lesson that's not hammered home too much. And I think that is something that I would really compliment. Like you, I didn't get invested in a lot of the like characters
Yeah.
that they wanted us to get invested in.
I guess I had higher hopes for it for being a Kaufman movie, just like
Exactly.
to
Yeah.
go somewhere, and it is a kids movie, so like the simplicity of fear is a difficult thing to overcome. It's
Yeah.
not as simple as we may explain it, be explained by adults by what fear is, and we may never like ever overcome all of our fears, and just life is crazy, like scary, and like they reference about how like not knowing what happens when you die, like
Mm.
that is a fear that you can never overcome. And I was like, oh
Yeah.
god, there's the Kaufman coming out, in a kids movie. So it is there, but I guess
Yeah.
I just don't feel like it ever reached its full Kaufman potential, and
Yeah. No.
that's okay because it is a kids movie. So
Mhm.
yeah, but like 3 stars is a pretty positive review for me for this.
For me, I feel like it's probably closer to a 7 than 8 out of 10, but I ended up giving it like an 8. It's like a 7.5 out of 10. I definitely recommend it. I don't think it has much of a shot at getting into the final 5 of the Oscars, but for something that is so readily available on Netflix, there's also the Super Mario Bros. Movie that's entertaining, but I think this one is just it adds a bit more to like an actual experience of like I feel like you have a kid sitting down with their parents watching a film together, and they have something to talk about after this, which I don't know, maybe that's just like the educator in me that's like, that is valuable, great stuff, you had a lesson movie. But I quite liked it, and I was surprised of how much I liked it because I didn't like it initially.